source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening, several neglected sled dogs were flown from Galena to Fairbanks over the weekend for treatment. Now an investigation is underway concerning the dogs and the fact that their owner is believed to have committed suicide. The small Alaska Huskies were found with inadequate shelter and little or no food and water in a dog yard on public land. 2 dogs were dead at the scene, according to a rescuer, and 2 others were in extremely weak condition. The nonprofit group Loving Companions Animal Rescue got Era Aviation to fly the dogs to Fairbanks over the weekend. Well, we continue tonight with our look back at some of the top stories of 2012. Back in mid-June, opinions were mixed in the wake of juror verdicts convicting 2 of 3 Alaska militia members of plotting to kill law enforcement and other officials. Alaska Peacekeepers militia leader Schaefer Cox, Lonnie Vernon, and Coleman Barney were charged with conspiring to kill government officials and amass a cache of dangerous weapons. Both Cox and co-defendant Vernon were found guilty of the most serious charge. However, jurors informed the judge that they could not reach a verdict on the same murder conspiracy charges against Coleman Barney. Additionally, all 3 men were found guilty on count 1, conspiracy to possess unregistered silencers and destructive devices. Reached for comment, Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephen Scrocky applauded the jurors' decision, but Robert John, who represented Cox in the state conspiracy case that was eventually dismissed, said the verdict was a grave injustice.
The verdict itself, from my perspective, is a horrible atrocity, a complete injustice. I believe Schaefer is absolutely innocent of all the charges. He perhaps could have been convicted of the charges for possessing the homemade weapons. He had a defense to those charges that he had spoken with a federal agent who had told him it was okay to possess those as long as they hadn't traveled in commerce. The judge did not let him go into that. He did not get an instruction on that. There was various other evidence withheld from the jury that was favorable to Schaefer. From my perspective, this case is basically the government is looking for domestic terrorists. They're trying to put the clamps down on so-called sovereign citizens, and when they can't find domestic terrorists, they go out in this case and they create them.
We believe that the verdicts were very just. We know that the jury worked very, very hard on this. They took notes every day. And over a period of 6 weeks, it was pretty obvious that they were thoroughly engaged with this and applied the facts to the law and came out with a fair verdict in our estimation.
All that occurred in June. Later in the year, federal prosecutors declined to retry Coleman Barney on murder conspiracy charges. News Center 11's Daryl Lewis obtained an interview with Barney's younger brother, Samuel, who voiced some satisfaction with the government's decision.
After 2 days of deliberations, jurors returned guilty verdicts against Schaefer Cox and Lonnie Vernon, but were deadlocked against Coleman Barney.
No, I just praise God. He has answered so many prayers, not only ours, but, thanks to everybody that was praying for our family and praying, God answered our prayers in that regard.
In a one-page paragraph motion, federal prosecutors offered no explanation for why they wanted to dismiss the charge.
I've seen all of the evidence that was submitted and a lot of the evidence that was not submitted, and all of those men are innocent, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Not just my brother, but Schaefer and Lonnie, they're innocent of the charges that were levied against them. The fact that my brother's charge of conspiracy to murder was dropped brings up a lot of questions about the charges of conspiracy to murder levied against the other ones that were actually convicted.
Coleman Barney more than likely now sidesteps what could have been a possible life sentence on the murder conspiracy charge. Daryl Lewis, News Center 11.
And since that story first aired, sentencing hearings have been put off until early next year. Well, Mike Schultz joins us now with our first look at weather. Mike, beautiful weather for the Christmas holiday. What's in store for us today?
Hey, you're right, Daryl. It was pretty nice. The temperatures got above zero today. Obviously, just the opposite. Temperatures dropping down pretty chilly. In fact, looking around the area right now, we can see everybody looking at the teens below zero, except a little bit warmer around Delta Junction. Also, quite a bit warmer in Uniana. That's because the winds are blowing out of the east about 20 to 30 miles an hour, and Denali Park at 14 degrees below zero. But the good news is we've got a lot warmer temperatures on the horizon. I'll tell you why, and we'll also talk about all the storminess in the lower 48, all the weather later on. Daryl?
All right, thank you, Mike. And when we come back, getting in shape in the Guard. Also, more of our year-end reports. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fbx Evening News is brought to you by Northland Hearing Services, better hearing with a human touch, and by Fairbanks Memorial Hospital, community owned. Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Welcome back. Continuing our top stories of 2012, a much publicized 2011 road rage murder case came to an abrupt ending. During a brief hearing in mid-July, 45-year-old Michael Bostic pled guilty to a reduced charge of first-degree manslaughter connected to the March 2011 incident that ended in the stabbing death of 55-year-old Timothy Lund outside his place of employment. As part of the plea deal, Bostic was given a 3.5-year prison sentence. He also received good time, as well as the year he had already served tacked on, meaning he could be released from jail in the next 2 years. Bostic had originally been charged with first-degree murder, but was acquitted by a jury in December 2011. Jurors couldn't reach a decision on guilt or innocence on a second-degree murder charge, prompting a retrial that was scheduled to begin last summer. Reached by phone in Anchorage in July, Lund's daughter, Rochelle O'Neill, had this to say about the resolution.
It is what it is, you know. You don't expect, you know, when you're going back to work that somebody's going to follow you and get in your face and you're going to lose your life over it. And it's just frustrating that 3.5 years is all my dad's life is worth. And it just frustrates me to like no end that, you know, in 3.5 years, or, you know, he's probably not even going to serve that with good behavior. He's going to walk out and he's going to have the rest of his life to live. Can't say that about my dad. He's gone. There's not anything that is going to be done that's going to probably justify it for me to make it better. But 3.5 years is just a really short sentence. And for him to just carry on with his life like he did nothing wrong, it just sucks, you know, all over a finger gesture. It's just ridiculous.
Bostic has always maintained he acted in self-defense when he stabbed Timothy Lund, further saying Lund's son Wally also joined in the fatal altercation as well. Well, the body of a missing Coast Guardsman stationed in Kodiak was found Christmas Day on Barometer Mountain 3 days after he went for a hike. State troopers say 20-year-old Derek Russell of Maine was found dead about 2 p.m. Tuesday. Searchers first located Russell's ice axe on the mountain, then found him in a slide area about 1,000 feet below that. The search for Russell began Sunday evening when troopers were alerted that he hadn't been seen since leaving to hike the mountain on Saturday. Well, volunteers from the Alaska National Guard provide a no-cost strength and conditioning program to guardsmen and their families. News Center 11's Monty Bowen has details now in this week's Military Report.
The 907 CrossFit program builds strength and conditioning through constantly varied high-intensity functional movements. It's a workout designed to maximize your cardio and muscular endurance. Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Lewandowski was hurt while training for the Iron Dog snow machine race and found CrossFit during physical therapy. The program is designed for any committed individual, from marathon runners to power lifters.
All right, well, a little audio difficulty right there, but you know what? It sounds like a great program, and the intensity on those guys' faces, I mean, yeah, they're getting in shape.
I can imagine, like, participating and stuff like that, and think about, you know, CrossFit as well. I mean, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it is. And good things coming off post. Speaking of good things, sports, always a good time this time of year. But a little hit and miss because, you know, with the holiday, you know, there's not too much.
Yeah, not too much going on. You know, the big boys were playing, but in sports, we're going to start our year in review and look back at some of the big moments in local sports for the interior. We'll also see which team in the NBA has the best record after Christmas Day, and that team may surprise you. That's coming up next in sports.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Season's greetings, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you, and I hope you had a wonderful Christmas holiday. It's Wednesday, and here's what we got for you in sports. Today, we start off with a series of the top sports stories that happened in and around the interior during 2012. We'll take a look back at a few of these events every day until New Year's Eve. The stories selected are in no particular order, and today we start with a changing of the guard in the Nanook Athletic Department. After 7 years of service, Forrest Carr stepped down in May to become the athletic director at Northern Michigan of the CCHA. In June, Scott Jerome, the Nanook's cross-country skiing coach, served as the interim AD for a few months until August 31st, when Dr. Gary Gray was selected out of 100 applicants to become the current athletic director at UAF. We take a look back.
The thing that I'm most proud about is the stability that's in place right now. I think we have a really good staff, and all the coaches that are here are going to be successful over the next few years, and our administrative team's been together for a number of years, and everyone knows what they're doing and their roles, so it's going to be an easy transition. Somebody's going to be able to come in here and take it to the next level, and I'm proud of that, and it's going to be fun to watch them be successful, and you know, I'll always be a Nanook, and I'll always follow it and always cheer for the team, so that's what I look forward to.
I can tell there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of potential and opportunity, and we're going to do everything we can to maximize that. Coming from another GNAC school, Montana State University Billings, where I've been a long time, I'm definitely familiar with this great university and the wonderful tradition of Nanook athletics. In fact, my familiarity goes back as far as the mid-'80s. So I am not new to competing against Nanooks, and now it'll be great to be a Nanook and be the next athletic director.
He knows how to grow revenues for the program, knows how to grow the program, and that's why we want him here. We wanted someone with experience, someone who understood the D2 experience, that it's about the student in student athlete as well as about the athlete in student athlete. He's been a tenured faculty member, and I think will help us explain to the faculty why it is that athletics is important to UAF, that it makes a difference in our graduation rates. The students who come make a difference in the energy for on-campus students and in our connection with the community.
As we continue our Interior Sports 2012 year in review, we pause to highlight one of our Olympians. The 2012 Olympic Games in London was a great showing for a few decorated interior. To take a look at the success of former Nanook Jamie Byerly Gray. Gray was an NCAA champion in air rifle in 2003 and in small bore in 2006 for the Nooks. This former Nanook shooter was determined to medal at the London Games and did exactly that and set a record along the way. Gray did not medal in the 2008 Beijing Games with 4th and 5th place finishes. This year, Gray redeemed herself outright, shooting an Olympic record 687.5 points to claim the gold and her first career Olympic medal in London in the 50-meter rifle 3 position event. Gray talked about her last shot and the feeling of being an Olympic champion.
I've worked on that last shot for a long time. Of course, in Beijing, I had not such good luck, and I've worked for 4 years just trying to take that last shot over and over again. And yeah, after the 8.9, I knew, it's not the end of the world. It was still, I still had a little bit of a lead, so I just focused on the next shot. I didn't even worry about it. Just threw it out, and okay, time to move on, and it worked. Words just can't even describe it. It's just amazing to be standing on the podium and your flag is being raised in the middle. It's awesome.
And finally tonight, as most of you were eating and exchanging gifts, there was NBA action on TV. If you fell asleep after that last cup of eggnog, here are the NBA Christmas Day final scores. Boston, they handled the Nets with Paul Pierce leading the C's with 10 assists. Go figure with Rajon Rondo running the point there. The NBA's top scorers, Kobe Bryant and Carmelo Anthony, both dropped 34, but the Lakers would win. In the big game, the Heat get their 5th straight win against the rival Thunder. And the Rockets, they were matadors, beating the Bulls 120-97. And the Clippers, quiet as kept, have won their 14th straight game, winning 112-100 over the Nuggets. They have the best record in the league at 22-6. And that'll wrap up things for sports this Wednesday evening. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Be sure to catch up on KTVF 11 Sports Highlights on our YouTube page. Just search KTVF 11 Sports, subscribe, and check out our videos. Or you can log on to webcenter11.com and watch videos right on our sports page. As always, stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Not a bad week, or actually not a bad day for Christmas. Yesterday, temperature-wise, the temperatures were above zero. At least today, a little bit of a fallback, but we're going to get really warm this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I mean in the 20s, Joe.
What?
Above.
Sounds good.
I'll tell you why in just a little bit. Let's go out the airport and see what's going on out there as far as the numbers go. Our temperature right now is 7 below. At 4 below is the high for the day, 17 below the low, and the record high was 42 in 2001. 1961 got down to 56 below for the record low. Sunrise this morning 10:59. Sunset 2:47. 3 hours and 47 minutes of daylight. That is a gain of a minute from yesterday. How about that? Winds are calm. The barometer is falling. We have a photograph to share with you tonight. Finally back on some photographs in. This one's sent in by Renee Orr. A Christmas sunrise. A beautiful photograph there. If you have a photograph to share, by all means send it to Mike Schultz at KTVF11.com. Here's our satellite picture tonight. Here's why I'm excited about the warm temperatures coming in. As you can see, a lot of circulation down here. This is a pretty good sized storm, but it's also bringing up a lot of warm air. All the moisture is basically going away, so no precipitation expected, but we are going to get warm temperatures. Like I said, could be in the 20s this week and above. How about that? What's going on across the rest of the state right now? Well, we're looking again. As you can see, temperatures cooled off a little bit around Juneau. Not too bad at Ketchikan, 30 degrees. Some light snow and rain falling around the Kodiak Island area. Over along the Aleutian Chain, temperatures in the 30s, mid-30s. A little bit of snowfall around Bethel. Not too bad at Nome, 15 degrees. Some light snow at Barrow, and Fort Yukon, 17 degrees below zero. Lower 48 weather. In case you missed it yesterday, boy, there was a lot of weather going on. Doesn't look that bad right now, but there was a lot of weather across the deep south, and now that has transpired into a huge winter storm. In fact, our latest satellite picture, this is the remnants of that storm system right here, roaring up, bringing heavy snow to much of upstate New York, and the thunderstorms that are associated with this storm system brought tornadoes yesterday to Mobile, Alabama. Now we have a new storm moving across the Pacific Northwest, not nearly as intense, but still widespread cold temperatures and a lot of possibility for snow. As you can see here, a lot of cold air being brought in all the way across down Southern California. Amazing there. The overall outlook for later on this weekend, more snow and rain expected across the Northeast, a little bit of a breather across the Central Plains, just showers up and down the West Coast, and nice weather over the Deep South. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. First of all, the northern sections, partly cloudy at Barrow and Fort Yukon, 14 below at Fort Yukon, 6 below at Barrow, but Nome's going to see periods of snow with 21 degrees for their high there. How about that? In the interior, looking at increasing clouds for both Fairbanks and Denali Park, 4 above for Fairbanks, but 19 above in Denali Park tomorrow. Over southeast Alaska, mixed bag of weather once again. Snow expected for Juneau, about 29 for their high there. 38 degrees at Ketchikan with mixed rain and snow expected there. Out to the southwest, we'll be looking at Bethel will be getting a reprieve from a blizzard they had today. Just maybe winds and a little bit of snow there tomorrow. 27 degrees, rain and snow at Kodiak and also Cold Bay, 39 degrees at Kodiak. And over the south central regions, looking at snow showers at Anchorage, mixed rain and snow for Homer, and Kodiak will be raining. Time once again for our kids' weather. This week the kids, as we said before, are on vacation until the first week in January. But our weather fact for tonight in 1947, New York City had 26 inches of snow in 24 hours, again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. And like I said, the kids will be back with us with North Pole Elementary, our guests, on the week of January 9th. Okay, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. As you can see, 18 below for the overnight low, partly cloudy skies, continue quite cool. Now tomorrow we're looking for increasing clouds with all that warm air coming up in the south. Temperatures rising to 4 degrees above, clouds into the evening. But the good news is, look at the extended forecast. As you can see here, temperatures rising to the low to mid 20s into the weekend, and temperatures will continue to be quite mild all the way through the period. No precipitation expected. We're looking at mainly just partly cloudy skies throughout the period. But the good news is, guys, like I said, temperatures will be in the 20s this weekend. That's nice.
Shorts weather. I can't wait.
Well, I wouldn't say shorts, but
I haven't seen those temperatures since I first got here.
and they're going to seem warmer to you. That's a guarantee.
yeah.
But it's a good.
And the
good
long
news.
range is not showing any real cold air invading, coming back.
Very good. Very good. That's
Yeah,
very good news.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Now we'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we're glad you could join us.
And please stay tuned to Channel 11 as NBC Nightly News is up next. You can catch us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
We're going to leave you tonight with some spectacular Christmas lights over on Clay Street. From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.